So yeah, if anybody remembers, this is the B275 that we rebuilt on our back porch. Got the kerosene heater going, trying to keep us warm. This is the one we put new liners, bearings, pistons, whole 9 yards in on the back porch several years ago. Now, I had not changed the oil in it until we bought this place. I don't know how many hours that is. The gauge doesn't work for the hours, but anyways, it needs fixed up. It needs some attention. Maybe I'll look through the lights that I got. When I said in the Prairie video, I got some extras at the place where I bought that stuff. We'll see if those fit. Not in this video, but while it's in here anyways. But for today, we're just going to do the oil filter change. Probably look at the, it has an oil bath air cleaner. If anybody knows what that is, well, you know what I'm talking about. If not, you will see that after a while. So, like I said, it needs some work. This fender's good. I had an opportunity to buy another B275. I should have bought and used for parts, knowing that this one has the new engine. Yeah, that's always fun. But I didn't buy it to part it out because, well, you know, it was in better shape than this one. This one just has the new engine, and I have a hard time with parting tractors out. That's just like, you know, they only made so many of these old things, and if you know how to work on them, you can get a lot of life out. This panel is off. It's on the bench. That switch broke. Happens. So what we have been doing, I have a new switch. That'll be in another video if we address the lights. I've been taking a old, or it's not old, it's just a spare rod that like goes in the top link. That's your switch for your glow plug, and if you watch long enough, somewhere in those 7 little holes is an element that lights up and tells you that, hey, the glow plugs got hot. Maybe? I mean, it just drove in here. Oh, I see it. See that? Oh, yeah. Yep. That's your glow plug indicator. But obviously, you can see how that's a minor inconvenience. And I can't start the tractor and videotape it because that would require me holding my phone, that rod in the switch, and pushing a starter button somehow while I'm supposed to get you a cold start shot of the black smokiness that everyone loves. So I'm going to fix that. But, so yeah, this is not an official tour, but I have a shop, desk area set up. I took out some bench, put some shelves in. This place is a mess. It really is. We had a hard time getting started here because I had a hard time getting the other guy to get his stuff out. And there's 2 pallets, several pallets actually, of his stuff still in here. But not use that one. That's valve train stuff out of the other tractor. We'll hang on. There we go. You got to remember, folks, you have white refrigerators, you have interior doorknobs, you have toilet handles, you have all kinds of stuff that you have to touch. So always try to, you know, put some gloves on. I got a light, emptied the drain pan, that way we can inspect what comes out of it. Not that there's any contamination in that, but we'll see. And I've got the wrench we need for the drain and the wrench we need for the oil filter. So I guess we can go ahead and crack this oil filter loose and start the draining of this process. This isn't hard, obviously. But you loosen it a little bit. Make sure the bolt's in there good. Give her a knock. Usually she'll start running down. Yep, decided to do that on the back side. We will let that drain for a few. You know, it didn't run since yesterday, but the cup is going to be full. You know, it's not like you're going to have a whole bunch popping out at you or whatever. There's my wife's wind chime. I hung that up just because I love her. I got a Baldwin filter this time. only because I needed like $14 left to get free shipping on some parts I needed for the 706, and I thought, well, this filter is like 15 bucks. The shipping was $14.99, so it was a wash. I got a free filter. Typically, I use Wix or IH brand, CNHI, whatever. I just try to go back to the factory when I can and when it is not only convenient, when it's relevant to what you're doing. You know, I try not to use aftermarket fluids and, you know, certain things. This is the switch that we are hoping is going to work. It says 6 to 12 volt, 50 amp. Glow plugs on that tractor are a 40 amp system. I've burnt out the one switch. I've burnt wiring up. I have installed heavier wiring, heavier lug terminals, and it's just anything made nowadays just isn't worth a count, you know. So hopefully this switch works good. Like I said, it probably won't be in this video, but you know, if we do the lights, I'll include the glow plug switch replacement, you know, nothing major. All right then. So we got our filter, and we're gonna see. Well, I mean, it's cracked loose here at the top for sure. I guess it must be drained out. Now comes the fun part. Oh yeah. Because when it does decide to go, and this is so much fun one-handed. See that finger action? Yeah, it's the life of a mechanic, I guess. Wannabe farmer. Mostly mechanic. I just try to farm. But she'll come and probably want to drop. Make a big mess. I try to keep the shop clean. It's just heck with all we got to do around here. Sometimes you spill some. Oh, there she went. Okay, first thing we're going to look for is any kind of metal, probably plenty. I don't see anything terrible, hateful. Well, one thing I'm noticing is the Baldwin filter is paper on the exterior, and that one is metal. Now, it appears that you do have more holes for flow. Obviously, we can't see a pleat count. That's the little ribs inside here. But I'm pretty sure that was an International filter, or, you know, from the Bain Welker, CNHI, whatever. So I guess we'll use this Baldwin. I also cleaned this out with some brake clean. It's just kind of sitting here dripping out. Didn't find anything, you know, crazy in there. Let's see if we can get some light in it. Yeah, I mean, no metal, nothing bad. The only thing my complaint is when I changed this filter, originally getting the tractor, the gaskets for this bolt doesn't come with the filter. Can't get them. You probably could if you tried hard enough. But, well, there's my wash tub. Another thing I wanted to point out is these seals. When you have a cup style filter, whether it's on a tractor, a car, or whatever, sure, it comes with, you know, 15 different seals for whatever make and model that this filter fits. I don't ever replace these unless they leak. And when I was early into mechanicking, I worked for a Volkswagen dealer. And there's a lot of the canister cup style filters on Volkswagens. And the guy training me told me, he said, if it's not leaking, don't replace it. You have more chances of messing it up than it leaking, I guess. I did replace that one when I rebuilt the engine. It's not leaked, so. Also, now this part's critical. Anytime you're working on your stuff and you see what I'm pointing at, a toolbox, you've ran around the farm for a year, here it is wintertime, and while you're changing oil, take a peek in the toolbox. Because I'm like, oh man, I know I had another snap-on wrench, and where was it at? Well, there's one. You know, there's a screwdriver, there's a line wrench. You know, you go through your stuff, kind of take inventory of what you got, snap-on extension. I'll clean that out here in a bit. But, yeah, that's just a tip, I guess. You know, if you're wondering where the heck all your tools are at, check the places you used them. You know, I've still got another snap-on wrench. It's an extended reach, or it's longer, but chrome handle. It's in one of these pieces of equipment around here somewhere, whether it's another tractor or the combine, someplace on my giant benches of doom. But we'll get back to the oil change, drop the plug out of this thing, and we'll see what that looks like. Alright, so we're going to the other side of the tractor, grabbing our big wrench. This wrench, I think, Pittsburgh. I got that from Harbor Freight, obviously. Chrome Vanadium. Yep. This is a trailer hitch wrench. It was in the trailer hitch section. Apparently it is used for putting balls on and off of trailer hitches. 1.5 inches, 1 1/8. I bought it because it is super convenient. Because it fits these guys. And it's a big, heavy-duty, sturdy wrench. And all the tractors take these seemingly ginormous drain plugs. Hopefully it all fits in here. I don't think this tractor takes a whole bunch of oil, but we're getting ready to find out if I make a mess. Maybe. Doop. Oh, yeah. Well, it does look a little shiny. I mean, I rebuilt it. It may be junk. Who knows? But, well, we've already got some drips on the floor. I'll just go ahead and set that on there. It's not looking like we're going to overfill it. Look out for that guy. He'll bust your knee. While we're doing that, we might as well, all you do is just drop your filter in your cup. Make sure it doesn't, fall in there. You want, see how there's some spring? You want to make sure that shit still works. Because if you don't have any spring up against the filter base, well, then the oil just flows around it and you get no filtration. See if I can do all this one-handed. Geez, I gotta find my tripod. It'll go, maybe. Oh, yeah. That's it. She'll stick. Now, I think this time we're going to put the sunny side in. This would be the sunny side. This is the side that's been hidden for centuries. Alright, that's good and tight. And yeah, I mean, that's obviously going to look weird on the side of a blue and rust-colored tractor. But at least the sun won't continue baking the one side that is more vulnerable than the side that still has paint on it. But I think the oil's drained out enough. And if anybody noticed, I did set my filter on the cardboard. I didn't just set the new filter on the dusty shop floor. I'll slide this over just to where the drips stay in the pan. Okay. Yeah, we're pushing it there. Back a little bit. But when you get your engine oil out, there's still too many bubbles. But I'm going to show you a trick of how to tell whether there's a whole bunch of metal in it. And you see, and I'm not lying to you, there is a little bit. See how it's making like waves or swirls? If it was real bad, it would come up looking well worse than that. Maybe one day I'll have something to show you there. That's not too bad. The swirls would stay once you stopped. And what you're doing is you're agitating the metal that's suspended in the oil to the top through like a centrifuge action. And there is some, don't get me wrong, but this pan, it came with the place. You obviously saw that the bottom was still black and had all kinds of you-know-what in it. But, yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, we're talking less than 100 hours probably on the rebuild. I mean, I've done a lot of bush hogging with this thing, but 100 hours of bush hogging is like years, it seems like, So I don't even think I have 100 hours on the rebuild. This tractor sat all of 2022. We didn't use it a lick. We did no farming in 2022 because we focused on gearing down and making sure we could buy a farm. And we bought one in 23. Now we can go ahead and get our drain plug put back in there. Somehow, maybe. If we can do things backwards, upside down, and looking through a camera lens. And I didn't replace the washer there either. That's not necessarily every time, unless it's leaking. Again, something I learned from the guy that trained me how to do all the mechanicking that I knew how to do. Not all of it, but this is more elementary stuff that I grew up figuring out how to do. Yep, give her a good snug. Now it's on to what's in there. Let's get the hood off after I change my gloves. We don't want to get oil on our nice paint job. Alright, fresh gloves, drain pan moved over to where the fuel filter is. These guys, you just kind of give them a shake. Oh, yeah, they come off. You gotta watch. The easiest way is see that seam, bottom of the screen. This seam, if you line those up, typically they go on pretty good and you don't have any sticking problems. If they sit on there for a few months and they're not lined up, trust me, buddy, you'll know about it. Then you got a lever down here you flip. Releases. I'll show you more in detail on the other side on that. 1959 B275. This guy I modified. Oh, it looks great, doesn't it? Yeah, well, that was to keep the muffler from turning and to keep from having a clamp on it. I'll show you at the other end here in a minute. Just kind of lay that wherever he lays. This latch I'm talking about is just a, let's see if we can find it. The light, the lighting's no good. Hang on. There you go. It's just a simple lever that releases. And because this was an alternator modification, not done by me, you pull out, then slide it forward. This latch, if you look in here, it has a little catch. And when you flip the lever, there's a nubbin. That maybe? There we go. The nubbin slides out and gets it. So you always got to make sure those are unlatched or you'll have a bear of a time. Yeah, I mean, it's still on a fresh rebuild. Like I said, less than 100 hours. Looks like it's breathing a little bit. Probably should have checked the oil level before we drained it, but you live and learn. It did overheat on me one time during the summer. That's why it looks all rusty. I don't think it overheated now that I think back. I think that it was low and I realized, okay, I put new coolant in it and a thermostat in there because it didn't have one when I did the rebuild. And I flushed the shit out of it. I just flushed and flushed and flushed, let it run. So that's why that all looks all rusty, is because I really cleaned it. But it should look good now. See what she looks like. Oh yeah. See, that's what your coolant's supposed to look like. Alright, this is your fuel filter assembly. If you have the BD 144, it should look just like this. 154, probably about half of them, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong, please don't. But this screw that you can see has been really gnarled on. That top one's the bleeder. I believe this one is what takes the fuel filter bowl off. And I'm pretty sure this guy down here is just a drain. But I went ahead and got all the tools we need. Here I am on my knees. It's like I'm at my day job, right? We will see what we get out of here. I think this is just a drain, though. Either that or the whole cup's going off. And, well, that's going to make the job easier. Yep, tedious tiny turns. Open end would have been better here, but... well, I grabbed the first 7/16 that I could find. Okay, that's seemingly loose enough. Pretty sure this is just a water drain. Let's give it a knock. Yeah, I think this is just a water drain. We can look at it too. See that? That's why I know all about this stuff, because I dealt with this over the summertime. It's yucky. Bad news. Okay, well, that didn't do anything for us, so I guess I'll screw this back in for a second. Okay, well, here's how we're going to tell if it's a drain. Oh, there it is. Now, bolt's round. bolts flat. Hopefully you can see what I'm trying to show you. Is 2/2 of these bolts, the threads are ground off at the end. Now that's how the bleeder screw is at the top too. So that's just a drain. I really can't believe not more is coming out of it. Let's do this. I'm going to set this here because the tractor doesn't have frame rails like the 706. And we will see if this is stripped out. If I crack this, it should let air in. Yep, to drain the bottom. Okay, well that's handy, isn't it? It's handy, and look where it's going. All over everything, and then finally getting into the drain pan. Not a lot of water came out though, so that's good. I did deal with rust in that filter last summer, trying to use a 1300 balance mower on this thing because the hay mower was broke. I don't know if anybody remembers, but I had busted the gearbox on our new disc mower. I did finally find one of those, and it is fixed. Sorry you didn't get to see that. Also converted the 3-basket tedder to the correct way, rotation 2-basket. So that's good too. But, yep, we'll just let this drain out and then see what the filter looks like. It's probably got 20 hours on it. Not very much. But, either way, we need to make sure it's right for this year. Meanwhile, while that's draining, this thing, it just leaks. It leaks everywhere, all over the step. I can't find one that is a direct replacement. It leaks where this knob is, right there. So I guess probably before I put the panel on with the switch issue, I need to replace that and make some kind of fittings work. The problem is you see where the knob's on your right, the outlet's on your left. Well, most petcocks, it's called a petcock, and a sediment bowl assembly, most of them are 180 degrees. You have your knob on one side, your outlet directly on the other side. This one's not like that. So if I have to make a new line or whatever, you can see why quickly things turn into full tractor rasterizations, and I have to control myself to not do that. You basically own an old piece of junk, look at it like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that running. And everything you touch, you find more that's wrong, and then if you're not careful, that leads to a paint job. We do not do paint on the Blackburn farms. Alright, so if you can hear that, it's done draining. It's just not done draining out of there. Oh, we got one more drip. Nope. Okay. So I'm going to take the little screw we had, just so it doesn't get lost and whatever. I'll just quickly put it halfway back in the bottom of here. Sorry for the bad camera. It's another thing, you buy a fuel filter, it's not going to come with any of that stuff. It'll come with a ring there, but not the seals for top and bottom. Rubber 9/16. Crack her loose. This tractor isn't too bad to pump back up. The worst part is where I was showing you that petcock that leaks. If you use the tractor enough, it'll actually suck air from there, because this does have a lift pump. That's what this piece is called, a lift pump. It has a plunger, and come to find out, I didn't even know that was a plunger until you guys told me that, oh yeah, that's the priming plunger. After that, it's a cake to fix if she does decide to suck some air. But, I don't know, maybe I'll get this loose. This is another one of those things I can't really do with one hand, especially because the cup's on the bottom. Yeah, see, she fell right before I even knocked it. Alright, I'm going to have to put you down. Alright, so it's loose. I do see some sediment on top of the filter. We will get it pulled out of here and see what's in the bottom of the cup. It really doesn't look that bad, though. I mean, I cleaned the shit out of it last time. You got to be sure about these things, especially if you're relying on something. All right, and for this part of the venture, we have a Napa Gold filter 3114. People at Napa, here local in town, they're good to farmers. And they told me, they swore up and down this was a Wix filter. I did a little backstory research just to confirm what they had said. And yeah, so B275 fuel filter. I bought this last summer. I swore I had a second one around, but let's see what we got. Seal is there on top, just like the other one was. Comes with a ring. And again, nothing for the top and bottom. Now, this has the original old seal that I have no idea how is still there, but it is. What fell out when I dumped the fuel filter was that spring, that washer, and that rubber O-ring. So I guess we're going to clean that up and put it back in. Alright, so things just got interesting for me. You've got a washer at the bottom, over top of a rubber, and a spring. Now you would think something has to push up against that rubber to make it seal on the bottom. But I look at this filter. It has a small hole in the center that fits that collar. And then you have an O-ring. And you have a big hole. Well, yeah, this is good one-handed. Anyways, remember how I told you earlier your filter is supposed to have some springy? That one had no springy. So now I have to find a washer to sit on top of that spring so we have positive filtration. Pretty important. Is it going to seal the best? Probably not. Is it better than the way it was? Yes. Oops. Well, at least now we have springy action. And I can't believe I missed that last time. I was probably in a hurry trying to get things done. But if there's no spring on that filter, it's not going to push up against that housing, you know, where the bolt's coming through. If nothing is keeping it sealed there, it's not going to filter. I actually just went through that on the 706 where someone had changed the filter housing before. They put a earlier serial number filter housing on it, so it's not the housing it's supposed to have. It's also missing springs. So currently inside the oil filter housing in it has a 1 1/4 lock collar for a bearing as a spacer. Because filtering things is pretty important, and that's, you know, it's what you got to do. You got to figure it out and make it work. Alright, so that's all started and mocked up. Remember, we're trying to do sunny side out. Brake clean might have done a number on that one, but it'll be okay. Sunny side in, sorry. Let's get this thing tightened up. Okay, starting to get snug. Okay, well, there's that. Make sure our bleeder screw's open. Our water separator is definitely still cracked. Now let's hit our plunger. Oh, it sounds like it's plunging great. Oh, we did get some drips out of the bottom. Okay, so now we know we got that. We're going to go ahead and tighten up the bottom. Just snug. Tiny bolts, tiny torque. Okay, now again, we can just take this all the way out. That's what I do most of the time. See, I need a lift pump bad. Look at that. Yeah, that's another issue. This will probably take 20 years. My other thought was to go ahead and put the engine oil in it, crank it until we see if we have pressure, which we should, and maybe do that while it is pumping itself up. But, you know, we've only got so much battery, folks. As soon as I turn the camera off, we get it. There we go. All right. Now we're going to put some oil in it. Also, like I said about the muffler, if you look, I just welded a strong bead, not strong structurally at all, just at the cast iron. And that's why that muffler had a split on the bottom. That way it doesn't turn. But all you do to put oil on this thing is, oh, look at that IH breather factory. She just comes off. And yes, I periodically clean this because it gets full of dirt. I haven't cleaned it in a while, though. That's not for today. Set that aside. Stick your funnel in it. This tractor takes straight 30 weight. It's going to get a mixture today. This is a straight 30 weight that I bought last year. We'll see how much. Does it have a line? No. Jugs nowadays. There's probably like a gallon in here. We'll put it in, check it. Probably won't be on the dipstick. And then, it's actually not the way you're supposed to do that, but I'm doing it one-handed. And then I'll just top it up with some cheap 1540 if I have to. Who would have thought that wasn't even enough to put it on the stick? Alright, she's full with the help of a little bit of Marlboro mystery oil. You might be able to see that. Yeah, I mean, it looks good and clean. And a jug that I bought from work. So I buy their bulk oil sometimes. It's cheap, but you have to take it home in a, whatever jug you can find. What's alarming is this is Traveler SA30. I'm pretty sure I got this from Tractor Supply. I just happened to look in it, and holy cow, this separation. I bought this last summer. You've seen the oil I poured out of it. But dude, there is so much sediment into that. Maybe I should have shaken it. Maybe that's additives falling out. But I'm pretty sure I'm glad I didn't shake it. Let's see if we got some oil pressure. Alright, we will stick our handy dandy IH cap back on. And you always got to make sure it's clocked correctly so you can read it and be proud of it. You know, because I'm not a JD fan. I don't pay John Deere tax or Nike tax or anything like that. Now, the one gauge that does work on this is this guy. Here's a starter button. Before we do that, you always got to reach that gear shift. I call it giving the gear shift a handshake. That's why I teach my wife and kids. You got to give her the handshake. We may end up running out of battery. Open the throttle because it actually does have an air valve on it. Aww. You know, that smoke was actually a good thing. Because that means that the fuel system didn't completely lose its prime. Oh, wait. I guess you guys haven't seen that there's an entire back section to this shop. That's my son's Jeep there. But, man, the dust. This place is so dusty. I just came back here for an extension cord. Alright, so the battery's been on charger for a couple minutes. That is the one complaint that I have about this place is this shop is 120 feet long, and there are 3 outlets per side. So you never buy an outlet. But anyways, it should be enough. If we have to, we'll crank it on 40 amp or, 200 amp, whatever. I really don't like to use that. But this battery wasn't clean dead, so we'll see what it does. There you go. I'll give her a shot. Maybe. Maybe not. We're trying. If nothing else, the fuel system is for sure primed. Oh, there it is. Now, for the sake of our ears, even though I'm deaf most time and they ring anyways, we'll slide that on there, and you'll see kind of what I'm talking about with that notch. Yeah, occasionally these need beat in with a hammer, but that keeps the flat points of smoke and fumes away from you. That's pretty important when you're on these things all day. But, well, that's charging. I guess we'll activate our glow plug switch, which really you can use anything that's metal. Let's see if we can do this here. Let's see if we can do that and let it hang, because that's safe. It's hanging, not touching anything. I think it's connected. Let's go watch our glow plug light. See if she'll fire. Worth a shot anyways, right? It's like 11 o'clock. Way past my bedtime, but... Oh yeah, she's glowing. Let's see what she does. Oh, wait a second. We need to turn our throttle down. It is. She's hiccuping a little bit. You gotta remember to take your glow plug. Turn that switch off. Plenty of oil pressure. Doesn't look like anything's leaking. Go check that oil filter we didn't replace the O-ring on. Alright, Josh, there's your B275 video. We didn't do the air cleaner yet. Maybe I'll do the lights, switch, and air cleaner in another video. I don't have internet yet, so I gotta watch how much time I upload. Alright then. I would call that a success for now. Like I said, next video, the next video on this tractor, we'll be doing the switch, possibly the lights, and the oil bath air cleaner. Because it's like 10 after 11. I got a job. I got kids. They're obviously still asleep by now. They're going to be asleep when I get home. It's kind of normal with this kind of lifestyle. But if you like what you see, you can come on back. If you watch to the end, I appreciate it. And you can hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.